Welcome back to the channel, tennis fans. We are standing on the precipice of what is widely considered the most spectacular event on the global tennis calendar outside of the four majors. I am talking, of course, about the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California. For those who might be new to the nuances of the tour, let me paint a picture of what Indian Wells truly represents. They call it Tennis Paradise, and that moniker is not hyperbole. Nestled in Coachella Valley, framed by the stark, breathtaking majesty of the San Jacinto Mountains, this tournament is an oasis of billionaire infrastructure, unparalleled luxury, and the absolute pinnacle of sporting competition. This is where Larry Ellison transformed a struggling desert event into a technological and architectural marvel, boasting the colossal Stadium 1. The intimate yet electric Stadium 2 with its world-class dining and a sprawling campus where the air is practically thick with anticipation, prestige, and the scent of jasmine. It is a tournament every player wants to win, and it is the event every fan dreams of attending. It is the fifth Grand Slam in everything but official name. When you look at the entry list for this year's edition of the BNP Paribas Open, the star power is blinding. You have Novak Djokovic, still defying the laws of biological aging, still seeking absolute perfection. You have the two-headed monster of the next generation, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, ready to resume a rivalry that is rapidly defining a new era of the sport. On the women's side, you have a defending champion Mira Andreeva. You have the sheer, unadulterated power of Aryna Sabalenka, the tactical genius of Iga Swiatek, and the home country heroism of Coco Gauff. These are the titans of the sport. These are the names that tournament directors plaster on billboards along Interstate 10 to sell out arenas. These are the established global icons. But today, we are not talking about them. We are breaking down a headline that has sent shockwaves through the tennis media landscape, a headline that has completely redefined the narrative of this year's Sunshine Double. The breaking news, the undeniable reality on the ground in Southern California right now, is this. Surprising as it may seem to the casual observer, 20-year-old Alexandra Eala is becoming the main attraction at the BNP Paribas Open. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20-year-old from Quezon City, Philippines, is a box office phenomenon in a tournament teeming with major champions and former world number ones. To understand the sheer magnitude of this development, we have to look at the unprecedented, meteoric rise of this young woman, a rise that has fundamentally altered the geography of tennis fandom. Just a few days ago, Alexandra Eala reached a new, historic milestone in her professional career, climbing to a career-high world number 31 in the Women's Tennis Association rankings. This wasn't just a bump up the ladder. This was a monumental leap of 16 places, fueled by a spectacular run at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, one of the tour's most grueling and prestigious WTA 1000 events. In Dubai, she systematically dismantled higher-ranked opponents, carving her way through the draw with a veteran's poise until she met world number 4 Coco Gauff in the quarterfinals. While that match ended her run, the points she accrued, 215 ranking points, alongside nearly $100,000 in prize money, propelled her past her peers and firmly into the elite echelon of the sport. This ranking of world number 31 is not just a number. It is a golden ticket. It is a historical benchmark. Alexandra Eala is now the highest-ranked Filipino tennis player in the history of the WTA or ATP tours. More importantly for her immediate future, breaking into the top 32 means she has secured her first-ever career seeding at a WTA 1000 event. She gains direct entry into the main draw at Indian Wells. She bypasses the nerve-wracking, energy-draining qualifying rounds. She receives a bye in the opening round, granting her crucial days of rest, acclimatization to the notoriously tricky desert conditions, and focused preparation. She is no longer the underdog trying to crash the party. She is the VIP guest who has a reserved seat at the head table. But why is she the main attraction? Why is the tennis world, and specifically the massive crowds in California, buzzing with such intense, almost feverish excitement over her arrival? The answer lies in a perfect storm of breathtaking talent, dramatic narrative, and a demographic explosion. First, we must talk about the tennis. If you haven't watched Alexandra Eala play over the last 12 months, you have missed out on one of the most thrilling evolutions in the modern game. This is a player who, in 2025, put the entire tour on notice with an improbable, giant-slaying run to the semifinals of the Miami Open. That wasn't a fluke. That was a masterclass. She defeated 3 former Grand Slam champions in Yelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and the formidable IGA Swiatek. She proved that her heavy left-handed forehand and rock-solid two-handed backhand could dictate play against the absolute best in the world. She won her first WTA 125 title in Guadalajara. She recorded a historic win over Clara Tauson at the U.S. Open. She transitioned from a junior prodigy, a former junior world number 2 and U.S. Open girls champion, into a bona fide tour-level threat. Second, we have to talk about her mental fortitude, which has become the stuff of legend. Just weeks ago at the Abu Dhabi Open, she provided a prime example of the grit that is drawing fans to her matches in droves. Facing the experienced Belarusian Alexandra Sasnovich, Eala found herself in a seemingly impossible situation. She dropped the first set, battled back to win the second, but then suffered a catastrophic start to the deciding third set, falling behind 0-4. In professional tennis, against a seasoned veteran, a 4-game deficit in a final set is usually a death sentence. The bags are mentally packed. But Eala did not fold. Tapping into a reservoir of resilience that belies her 20 years, she clawed her way back, point by excruciating point. She saved match points. She capitalized on her opponent's tightening nerves. She forced a tiebreak and ultimately emerged victorious in a grueling 2-hour and 51-minute marathon. When speaking to the media afterward, she addressed the passionate Filipino fans who had packed the arena, saying in Tagalog, "Napasaba talaga yung tibri ng dibdib ko," which translates to profound testing of her inner strength and courage. That authenticity, that refusal to surrender, is magnetic. It is why people cannot look away when she steps onto the court. And finally, the most crucial factor making her the main attraction in California is the cultural phenomenon she represents. Southern California is home to one of the largest and most vibrant Filipino-American populations in the world. For decades, the Philippines has been a nation defined in the sporting arena by its fierce devotion to basketball and the legendary boxing exploits of Manny Pacquiao. But Eala has single-handedly carved out a massive space for tennis in the hearts of Filipinos globally. What we are seeing in Indian Wells is the beginning of a cultural takeover. The diaspora is mobilizing. Just as fans would flock to Las Vegas to watch Pacquiao fight, they are now driving down Interstate 10 to Indian Wells to watch Alexandra Eala play. They are bringing the flags, they are bringing the energy, and they are transforming the usually polite golf clap atmosphere of the Tennis Country Club into a raucous, passionate celebration of national pride. Tournament organizers are witnessing a surge in ticket requests. Practice court crowds are swelling beyond capacity whenever she hits a ball, and the international streaming numbers from Southeast Asia are breaking records. She is not just a tennis player. She is a movement. She is a symbol of a nation's athletic potential realized on the most glamorous stage in the world. So, in this deep dive, we are going to unpack exactly how Alexandra Eala built a game that is dismantling the world's best. We will explore the strategic brilliance instilled in her by her coaches and her time at the Rafael Nadal Academy. We will analyze what the specific moment in California means for the future of the WTA, the economics of global tennis marketing, and the shifting landscape of Asian representation in the sport. Buckle up, because the Alexandra Eala era has officially arrived in the desert, and it is a spectacle you do not want to miss. Tio understand how Alexandra Eala is captivating crowds in California today. We must first dissect the foundation upon which her game was built. The transition from a highly touted junior to a successful professional is notoriously one of the most brutal crucibles in all sports. The junior circuit is littered with the ghosts of immensely talented players who simply could not bridge the gap to the senior tour. The power is heavier, the margins are thinner, the travel is lonelier, and the mental toll is unforgiving. Yet, Eala navigated this transition with a calculated, almost terrifying precision. The cornerstone of her development, and a massive reason for her current success, is her long-standing association with the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. When you watch Eala play, you are watching a hybrid of Southeast Asian agility and Spanish clay court philosophy. The Nadal Academy does not just teach forehands and backhands. It teaches suffering. It teaches the absolute necessity of point construction, the value of heavy topspin, and the relentless, suffocating pressure that comes from making the opponent hit one more ball. Working under the guidance of Coach Joan Bosch, Eala has internalized these lessons perfectly. Being a left-handed player immediately gives her a distinct tactical advantage on the WTA Tour. The natural spin of her cross-court forehand kicks high into the backhand of right-handed opponents, a dynamic that Rafael Nadal has famously exploited for 2 decades. But Eala is not just a defensive grinder. Over the last 2 years, particularly leading up to her breakout 2025 season, she has added significant pace and aggression to her baseline game. She has flattened out her backhand down the line, turning it into a lethal weapon that finishes points rather than just neutralizing them. Her serve, once potential liability, has been refined. She uses her left-handed slice serve out wide on the ad court to open up the geometry of the court, allowing her to step in and dictate with her forehand on the second shot. This is highly sophisticated, first-strike tennis, disguised behind a calm, unassuming demeanor. Physical tools alone do not make a player the main attraction at a WTA 1000 event. It is the application of those tools under extreme psychological duress that separates the good from the great. We have to revisit that Abu Dhabi match against Sasnovich because it is a Rosetta Stone for understanding Eala's current trajectory. When a player goes down 0-4 in a deciding set, the brain typically enters a state of preservation. The internal monologue shifts from "how do I win" to "how do I get off this court without completely embarrassing myself?" The physical body reacts to this mental surrender. Footwork gets lazy, racket head speed drops, and errors compound. Sasnovich, a seasoned tour veteran, knew this. She expected the young Filipina to crack. But Eala possesses a generational mental toughness. Instead of panicking, Eala compartmentalized the deficit. She stopped looking at the scoreboard and started focusing exclusively on the execution of the immediate point. She tightened her defense, forcing Sasnovich to hit through her, effectively asking the veteran, "Do you have the nerve to hit winners to close me out?" As Sasnovich neared the finish line, the pressure shifted. Sasnovich began the double fault. She netted routine forehands. Eala, sensing the blood in the water, elevated her aggression. She hit a stunning backhand winner to break back for 5-3, shifting the entire momentum of the stadium. This ability to flip the psychological script mid-match is incredibly rare. It is a trait we associate with players like Novak Djokovic or Serena Williams. For a 20-year-old to exhibit this level of emotional regulation is staggering. It is precisely this dramatic flair, this promise that a match is never truly over until the umpire calls game, set, and match, that makes her a must-watch ticket in Indian Wells. The fans in stadium, too, don't just want to see a tennis clinic. They want to see a street fight, a test of wills. Eala delivers that drama consistently. Now, let's step away from the baseline and look at the boardroom. The WTA is a global business, and like any business, it is constantly in search of growth markets and marketable superstars. The business of tennis is heavily reliant on narratives, rivalries, and demographic expansion. For years, the Asian market has been a massive focal point for the tour. We saw the explosion of tennis interest in China spearheaded by the trailblazing Li Na. We saw the massive commercial success of Naomi Osaka in Japan, which blended high fashion, social activism, and devastating power to create a global brand. Alexandra Eala represents the next massive frontier for the WTA. The Philippines boasts a population of over 115 million people, with an incredibly high rate of social media engagement and a fervent passion for sports. Furthermore, the global Filipino diaspora is estimated at over 12 million people, deeply concentrated in high-income regions like North America and the Middle East. When Eala plays in Dubai, the stadium feels like Manila. When she plays in California, the Indian Wells Tennis Garden transforms into a home game. This is an absolute gold mine for tournament organizers and sponsors. The BNP Paribas Open is a massive commercial enterprise. When a player like Eala becomes a main attraction, it means merchandise flies off the shelves. It means food and beverage sales spike because fans arrive early to watch her practice and stay late to get her autograph. It means broadcast rights in Southeast Asia become significantly more valuable. global partners of the WTA entities like Morgan Stanley and PIF. Look at Eala and see an incredibly articulate, bilingual, hard-working young woman who can single-handedly unlock a massive new consumer demographic. We are witnessing the Manny Pacquiao effect, transitioning to the tennis court. Pacquiao didn't just bring boxing fans to his fights. He brought a nation. Entire cities in the Philippines with record zero crime rates during his bouts because everyone was glued to a television. While tennis has a steeper learning curve for a basketball-crazed nation, Eala's historic ranking of number 31 and her giant slaying performances have penetrated the mainstream consciousness. She is on the front pages of national newspapers. She is trending worldwide on social media. She is carrying the weight of nation's sporting pride. And remarkably, her shoulders seem broad enough to bear ITS. What happens now? The hype is real. The ranking is secured. The seeding is locked in. Eala is in the final 32, resting and preparing while the unseeded players grind to the opening rounds. The conditions in Indian Wells are notoriously unique. The ball flies through the thin, dry desert air, but the court surface itself is incredibly gritty and slow, gripping the ball and causing it to bounce aggressively high. These conditions are absolutely tailor-made for Alexandra Eala. The slow, gritty surface allows her the extra fraction of a second she needs to set up her heavy, topspin forehand. Because she trains on the slow red clay of Spain, she is entirely comfortable engaging in long, attritional rallies. Furthermore, the high bounce will make her left-handed spin even more lethal, particularly against players with a one-handed backhand, or those who struggle to generate their own pace from above their shoulders. However, the path to a title at a WTA 1000 event is never a walk in the park. As a seeded player, she will be protected in the early rounds, but she is on a collision course with the titans of the game. A potential rematch with Coco Gauff, who just bested her in Dubai, will be a marquee matchup under the lights of Stadium 1. Gauff's world-class movement and impenetrable defense against Eala's structured, heavy-hitting offense is a fascinating tactical battle. Eala will need to serve at a very high percentage and be willing to move forward to the net to finish points, rather than allowing Gauff to turn the match into a track meet. If she crosses paths with an Aryna Sabalenka or an Elena Rybakina, the dynamic shifts entirely. Those players hit with overwhelming, flat power that can take the racket out of an opponent's hand. Against that tier of hyper-aggressive ball strikers, Eala's defensive skills and her ability to absorb pace and redirect it will be pushed to the absolute limit. She will have to use her slice, change the rhythm of the rallies, and refuse to give them the consistent, waist-high balls they love to crush. But here is the beautiful reality of the 2026 WTA Tour. The gap between world number 1 and world number 31 has never been narrower. On any given Tuesday, if Eala is striking the ball cleanly and her mentality is locked in, she can beat anyone in the world. She proved that in Miami last year. She proved it in Abu Dhabi. She is no longer a dark horse. She is a documented threat. To sum it all up, the revelation that Alexandra Eala is the main attraction at the BNP Paribas Open in California is not merely a surprising headline. It is a logical culmination of years of relentless dedication, tactical evolution, and an unbreakable spirit. We are witnessing the maturation of a prodigy into a powerhouse. She has ascended to a career-high world number 31, shattering national records and establishing herself as a legitimate contender on the tour's grandest stages. Her journey from the courts of Quezon City to the manicured lawns of the Rafael Nadal Academy, and now to the glaring spotlight of the Californian desert, is a testament to the fact that talent, when paired with the right infrastructure and an indomitable will, can transcend any barrier. She is not just playing for ranking points or prize money anymore. She is playing for history. She is redefining what is possible for athletes from her country, inspiring a new generation of young girls in the Philippines and across the global diaspora who now see a reflection of themselves holding trophies on international television. As we look ahead to the next fortnight in Indian Wells, the anticipation is palpable. Will she make a deep run into the second week? Can she topple another top 5 player? Will she capture her maiden WTA 1000 title in the desert? These are the questions that will keep fans on the edge of their seats. But regardless of the final result of this specific tournament, one thing is abundantly clear. Alexandra Eala has arrived. She is no longer the future of tennis. She is a thrilling, captivating present. The Sunshine Double is just the beginning of what promises to be a spectacular 2026 campaign, leading into clay court season, where her game is arguably even more dangerous. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the incredible rise of Alexandra Eala. If you enjoyed this comprehensive breakdown, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss our in-depth tennis analysis. The landscape of the WTA is shifting, and we are going to be right here to cover every single forehand, backhand, and major breakthrough. Now, I want to hear from you. Head down to the comments section and let me know, how far do you think Alexandra Eala will go in this year's BNP Paribas Open? Do you think she has what it takes to crack the top 20 or even the top 10 by the end of the 2026 season? Let's get a debate going. Would you like me to break down her specific tactical matchups once the official main draw for Indian Wells is released later this week? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay passionate, stay engaged, and enjoy tennis parody.